Another Indiana day of indecisive weather. While I'm feeling under the weather decided to go low, and now it's cold out again. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, today's starting out to be a adventure, because as soon as I get to work, I realize the toilet at work is broken, and now I have to go buy a new toilet lever. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, I guess I'll just give you guys an update about what's going on with the projects. Right now, the scooter project that's for a client's, that scooter project, most of the parts all came in at the same time within the same week, so I've got all the parts I need, and it's already got most of it done. I mean, that's really not mostly about stuff on my channel, that's just stuff in general that I do. But I'll throw a couple snapshots up now. And yeah, you can see I got the battery installed. The battery in that circumstances has one of those like water bottle mount brackets. There's no place to mount something like that, so I had to drill holes in the down tube in order to support it, because there's no way a battery of any significant size is going to fit back in the stock housing like that. The battery that was in there was a 13 amp hour with only a 15 amp discharge rate, and after checking out what cells they were, I realized that they can't support much more than a 30 amp max, which is not going to work for when you have a 2 kilowatt motor on the back of it. Yep, so what we ended up deciding to do on that was go with a battery that has a minimum of 35 amp discharge continuous and has like a 50 amp peak, which should put us, you know, well above where we want to be. Like, it's going to put us right in that 1500, 2000 range, which is exactly what the motor's rated for. The controller is rated for a max of 30, but it can be plus or minus a couple amps. Just on peak or something for momentarily. And yep. So that project's coming along pretty good. So just for the convenience of the client, what I ended up doing was instead of buying a whole system, I would have to cut wires in and adjust everything. I did find different components, all made by the original company that made the original controller and LCD display and all that for the scooter. Same company. I think it's pronounced Wuxing. It's Wuxing. It's the same company that makes that made the original. I forgot what it was called. It was Star Union. They made the original Star Union ESC for the scooter, and the same LCD and the brake handles and all that stuff. So what happened was instead so I gave him the best experience possible. I wanted to take everything off as one complete unit: wiring harness, brake levers, key switch, LCD, ESC, motor, everything as one whole unit, like, so it could be reassembled in the box, and he could know it works, you know? So that way, if he wanted to reuse those components, because you got to keep in mind, he's not going to be, he's not going to be 76 and still full of piss and vinegar when he's, older. He ain't going to be like that for much longer, so realistically, he might end up wanting to fall back on that 600 watt motor and put it on, like, I don't know, like a cruising cooler or something, which is, what I see a lot of older people do. He already thinks that idea is hilarious. He wants to put it on a cruising cooler now so that he can just have that too. But yeah, so when I bought new parts, I bought the Wuxing brake levers, Wuxing controller, Wuxing LCD, and it all just plugs in, and I'd have to modify. The only thing I had to modify was the motor cables. The motor's not from that company, but it just happened to be an exact fit to the forks that were on the scooter. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I don't know if you guys saw that. That was weird. Maybe you didn't see it behind me. But, yeah, no, I don't think you're in frame. There you go. I don't think you were in frame to see it, but there's a cop racing up behind traffic behind me. And, had his lights on, no siren. And it was like 2 or 3 cops like behind him, all racing up Main Street in the middle of town. No sirens on or nothing. I guess maybe they're trying to sneak up on somebody or something. I don't know. But I was sitting there like, how is anyone supposed to know to get out of your way if you don't have the sirens on? I mean, like, to be fair, if people just hadn't checked their rear view like I do every 5 seconds, then there's no way anyone would have known you were there. I don't know, man. Yeah, so back to the update. Oh my lord. Yeah, so the controller fits now where the battery used to go on that scooter. The motor fits in the exact same, even though it's we went from a 600 watt to a 2000 watt, the motor just kind of got wider. And now the rear fender barely fits, but it will fit. What else? Yeah, the controller fits now where the battery used to go. The hardest thing about it was that it used to be one cable, one like 9-pin, running from the top to the bottom. And at the top it would split off into 4 different connectors. Well, now I had to feed 4 wires plus 2 brake cables down through that tube, and it was not easy. Like, I had to fish them through the head tube, and it was just taking forever. But I did finally get it, and sure enough, like I said, everything just plugged in like it was stock, like it was meant to be there. I've never put together a project that was so simple. I'm so used to working on stuff where it's like every single step is like a huge hurdle, because it's like, oh, I have this controller and this motor that don't go together. Well, I need to cut off the connectors, go get some more, crimp them on. If I need to make sure they're solid, well, solder them on top of that. And then like the same thing for the throttle and the key switch and the Hall effect sensors. And that's the worst one, the Hall effect sensors. Yeah, I mean, it's like the same thing for every wire on the controller. You basically have to rewire to be something else. But not in this instance. This is the easiest I've ever worked on, and realistically it only took like $600 worth of parts instead of like 200. But still. Well, I'm gonna run in and get this piece to fix. I'm gonna go get this piece to fix the toilet at work. And I just thought about it because I've always wanted to do this. I'm gonna do this weird transition. See you guys in that. Bah, I'm back again. That's always fun to do. I want to try that more often. But yeah, got my toilet lever thing, heading back to the store.